In all honesty, this episode tackles the issue of the 5 stages of loss fairly well for a kid's show, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the episode itself. Alrighty, with winter incoming, Rainbow Dash is super pumped to play some winter games with her best bud Tank. However, Tank's feeling a little bit sluggish, well, more sluggish than usual. Being the concerned pet owner that she is, Rainbow Dash decides to take Tank to see Fluttershy. Fluttershy explains that, hey, you know what? Tortoises, they sleep during the winter. Rainbow Dash doesn't take this too well. And here we see the first stage of loss, denial. Rainbow Dash outright states that, guess what, your pretty book with all this knowledge and facts, it's full of lies and deceit, and I won't have any of it. So she goes to see Spike, who tells her, hey, you know what, I'm a dragon. He's a tortoise. I don't sleep. He does. Deal with it. I actually didn't know that dragons weren't considered reptiles. Rainbow Dash, hoof deep in denial, decides to ignore Tank's sleepiness and continue prepping for winter. However, good old Pinkie Pie notices Tank trying to get some sleep, and to say the least, Rainbow Dash does not approve. In fact, one might say she gets a little angry. The second stage of loss. Now, after Rainbow Dash's little outburst towards Pinkie and her friends, she heads home and hatches quite the scheme. If Tank is sleepy because it's cold, well then we'll just have to stop winter from coming to Ponyville. Which leads into quite the song in my opinion. Season 5 in general has been really good about getting good songs out there, and in my opinion this is probably the best Rainbow Dash song we've gotten so far. Sadly, Rainbow Dash's attempts to foil winter don't seem to be going as planned, so she decides to cut winter off at the source and heads to Cloudsdale. And well, things turn out just about as good as you'd expect, and we get probably the best reference in all of MLP ever. Sadly, Dash's bartering doesn't work, which leads her into the 4th stage of loss, depression. And the scene that follows is very heart-wrenching. I don't think we've ever seen Dash quite this sad before. And the thought did cross my mind, why is Dash so upset? I mean, she's never really shown that much care for Tank in the series, has she? Then I thought about it more. Honestly, yes, she does show a lot of affection towards Tank. Now, the problem with Dash is that she doesn't like to show public displays of affection. We've seen Tank nuzzle her and she blushes. We've seen her avoid showing others that she nuzzles Tank back. In this episode, it really showcases that Rainbow Dash does love Tank. She's a good pet owner. Her and Tank spend many a night reading Daring Do books and doing other things that she would do with a buddy. And then it dawned on me, Rainbow Dash is probably quite lonely. I mean, think about it. How many of her friends can visit her cloud house on a regular basis without much help? Well, there's Twilight and Fluttershy, and that's about it. Now, don't get me wrong, hanging out with friends at your house is cool and all, except you can't have slumber parties every night, especially during winter. Because come on, it's probably freezing in that house, because it's made of a cloud. Get it? And so I imagine without Tank, winter's going to be quite lonely for Dash, which made me sympathetic towards her. It really made me think, you know what, maybe Dash should be this upset. She's losing her best friend, essentially. And once everyone gets a good cry out of their system, Dash finally comes to the end of our 5 stages of loss, which is acceptance. She accepts the fact that Tank just has to sleep. It's just part of his nature, and she's just fine with that, going as far as to read him a bedtime story as he falls asleep. In my opinion, this episode is a wonderful, wonderful, heartwarming episode. It really develops Dash and Tank's relationship past he's a turtle that can fly, and it really gives Dash some depth. It shows her more caring side, rather than her more arrogant side that we usually see. It's refreshing, to be honest. Not only that, but the lesson itself can be applied in so many different ways, and it's a really rather deep lesson to teach kids. Everyone goes through loss at some point in their life, and to know the 5 stages of loss might help not only you get past the feeling of loss, but also allow your friends to help you cope. It's a universal lesson that can be used if you're experiencing loss, or you see someone else experiencing loss. And it's honestly a really good lesson, and in my opinion they pulled it off fairly well in this episode. And I really like where this season's going in general with its lessons. The lessons seem to be getting more deep and more mature as the show matures, and it's quite refreshing to see that. Most kids shows tend to stay towards the basics, the safe things. And MLP seems to be growing and ever expanding on its lessons and teaching kids rather mature subjects in a fun, lighthearted way. And I really like that about this season. If this season can keep that up, that's wonderful. But that's just my thoughts on this episode. If you guys have differing thoughts or opinions, leave them in the comment section down below. Feel like I missed something? Well then go ahead and mention it in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I'm UltraMag64, remember don't feed those Parasprites, and as always, happy gaming. I'll check you guys on the flip side, bye!